The board has been read in full spectrum terms now. Not just missiles, not just borders, not just propaganda, but the deeper effects. Fear-conditioned populations, crisis addiction, symbolic manipulation, emergency dependence, spiritual corrosion. So now we answer the harder question. What does repentance look like for a civilization trained by crisis? First, it looks like a people realizing they have been discipled by fear more than by truth. That is the opening wound. Not merely that rulers lied, not merely that systems manipulated, but that the people themselves learned to live by alarm signals, rumor currents, tribal reflex, and appetite for dramatic certainty. Repentance begins when a people says, "We have loved the storm too much. We have mistaken agitation for revelation. We have called panic vigilance. We have let urgency become our shepherd." That is where the turn begins. Good, because too many people want repentance to mean only this. The government should apologize. The media should confess. The elites should be punished. Fine, they should answer for what they have done. But if the people themselves never admit that they were made easy to manage by fear, vanity, convenience, and spectacle hunger, then nothing changes. They will just be harvested again under a new brand. And I say more than that. Repentance is not merely realizing you were manipulated. A man can know he was lied to and still love the lie if the lie gave him excitement, tribe, hatred, or a sense of importance. So do not speak of repentance cheaply. Repentance means turning from fear as a master, turning from rage as nourishment, turning from spectacle as daily bread, turning from tribe as idol, turning from crisis as identity. For many now do not merely endure the machine, they feed upon it. They wake and seek what outrage will animate them, what conflict will define them, what panic will make them feel alive. That is bondage. That is exactly right. The psyche has been trained to receive selfhood through conflict participation. People do not merely follow wars. They install them inside the self. They need the next crisis to stabilize their emotional architecture. Without it, they feel empty, unstimulated, undefined. The machine has taught them to derive existential meaning from reaction. That is why stillness feels unbearable to them. Stillness threatens to reveal that much of what they call conviction is only conditioned nervous system dependence. And spiritually, that means repentance must involve more than information correction. A people can learn new facts and remain possessed by the same inner disorder. They can switch from one propaganda feed to another, from one tribe to another, from one false certainty to another. That is not repentance. That is rebranding. Repentance means the loves themselves are reordered. A man must cease loving, panic, superiority, secret knowledge, vanity, emotional intoxication, tribal vindication, vengeance dressed as justice. Otherwise, he will carry the same polluted heart into every new movement he joins. Then let me make it uglier. Some men claim they hate the machine while copying its habits exactly. They say they oppose propaganda, but they spread whatever flatters their faction fastest. They say they oppose manipulation, but they manipulate emotionally with no discipline. They say they oppose censorship, but they cannot tolerate scrutiny of their own claims. They say they oppose false shepherds, but they run from guru to guru. That is not rebellion, that is mimicry. Repentance for a civilization means refusing to become the thing you claim to expose. History confirms that too. Civilizations in decay do not recover simply by replacing rulers. They recover only when the moral habits of the people change. If the people remain addicted to spectacle, appetite, grievance, and mythic simplification, they will recreate the same decay under new banners. That is why reform without moral seriousness fails. And moral seriousness does not mean public grandstanding. It means learning again how to tell truth from theater, law from appetite, memory from myth, courage from frenzy, worship from idolatry. Then say it operationally. What does a repenting civilization do? Not poetry, not slogans. What does it do? It slows down. That sounds weak to crisis-trained minds, but it is not weak. It is hard. A people trained by constant alarms must relearn measured sight. Not every signal is equal. Not every outrage is worth inhabiting. Not every emergency deserves inward surrender. Strategically, repentance looks like refusing to hand over the whole inner life every time the next banner flashes across the screen. A people that cannot slow its reactions can never regain judgment. It also starts distrusting convenience, because the machine thrives by making men passive. Passive in research, passive in judgment, passive in community, passive in discernment. It offers a stream of pre-digested certainties, pre-packaged identities, and pre-approved enemies. Repentance means choosing the harder path to think for oneself, to verify, to build real-world relationships, to cultivate a quiet mind. It means refusing the convenience of being told what to believe, what to hate, and who you are.